We are back with another conference preview in the Hoop Scoop Media Conference Preview Series. Moving on to WCC, kind of in that area between the power conferences and the mid majors. Yeah, pretty solid conference. Definitely a few solid teams. Gonzaga typically being a powerhouse, St. Mary's typically being very competitive. What are your first thoughts in WCC, Luke?
Um, just overall, I think Washington State and Oregon State in the mix. I'm excited for what this league is going to be this year. Gonzaga really in on them. Um, Basically a consensus top 5 to 7 team in the country. St. Mary's should be good like always, and then Santa Clara, San Francisco, Loyola Marymount. I think they're all pegged to have better years than their average. So I think it should be the best this conference has looked, especially 1 through 7, like forever probably, or ever, I should say. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm overall excited.
Yeah, I'm as well. Should be a really solid conference. Yeah, as you mentioned, those two teams, the Pac-2, both joining WCC temporarily. And yeah, up to 11 teams in the conference for this year. But yeah, the conference was 11th last year in Ken Palm. St. Mary's won the regular season title. It's the first time in a while that Gonzaga did not win it or at least share it. St. Mary's going 15-1 in conference play, but Gonzaga was the highest ranked team in Ken Palm. And um, yeah, and St. Mary's also won the conference tournament. Both teams got a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. St. Mary's lost their first game to Grand Canyon, where Gonzaga made yet another Sweet 16 as they typically always do. Kind of a pretty safe bet to bet on Mark Few's squad to advance to the second weekend. But yeah, going over some of the all conference players from last year and where they're at now. Um, from the first team, Michael Ajayi for Pepperdine is still in the conference, but he is on the big dogs now on Gonzaga. Adama Alpha Ball is back at Santa Clara. Graham Ike back at Gonzaga. Aiden Mahaney from St. Mary's transferred to UConn. Augustus Marciulionis, the player of the year in the conference last year, is back at St. Mary's. Jonathan Magbo from San Francisco started his pro career, was drafted, and is actually like a pretty good NBA player already. Um, Ryan Nembhard back at Gonzaga, Mitchell Saxon back at St. Mary's, Anton Watson exhausts his eligibility from Gonzaga, and Marcus Williams back at San Francisco. The 10 player first team, not a big fan of it personally.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're playing 5v5 against yourself, it doesn't really make sense. So, yeah, I'm 3 teams of 5. That's how I like it. That's how I prefer the conferences to it.
Yes. That's yeah. But then they had the 5 player second team with Alex Dukas, who exhausts his eligibility from St. Mary's, Nolan Hickman back at Gonzaga, Wayne McKinney from San Diego, stayed within the city but transferred to San Diego State. Tyler Robertson from Portland exhausts his eligibility, and Deuce Turner from San Diego transferred to UC Santa Barbara. So overall, a good amount of returning players to the conference. Now, granted, a lot of these Gonzaga guys aren't necessarily itching to enter the portal, as the Gonzaga is about as high as you can get for, I mean, for anywhere, but especially mid-major conference. So, yeah, definitely some solid returning talent from those top few teams. We also got some coaching changes in the league. One is Washington State. Kyle Smith is gone, and starting at WCC era will be David Riley. What are your thoughts on Riley?
I was a little skeptical at the start of the offseason. He's grown in on me, as long as the conference tournament failures don't carry over. But yeah, he did a good job at Eastern Washington. Um, from November to February each year. So I'm
Yes.
in on what he can bring, and he's got a great group coming over with him.
Yes, I agree with that. Really one there. I think it's a pretty logical hire for the state of for how the state of the program is at Wazoo to make that move. Pepperdine also went with the new coach there, Lorenzo Romar. Got talent, did not necessarily get results. Ed Schilling is the head coach now, I believe, who was a Grand Canyon assistant. It's it's all right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm so on Schilling. Like Pepperdine's such a tough place to compete in the West Coast Conference, or at least that's the way it's been recently. And
Yeah, Romar had
I don't
talent
know how
though.
much
Like,
Schilling I don't know how much Schilling changes that.
yes. And the last coaching change of the conference is Dave Smart coming in at Pacific. Forgot even who the guy they fired was. He was so bad. But this is a great hire. This is a great hire. Smart coming in as an assistant from Texas Tech, coached, I believe he coached at Carleton, previously in Canada, Canadian program that really had some success there. So this, as terrible as Pacific was last year, they were absolutely they were bad. So this is a great hire.
Yeah, 3 years of Leonard Perry. That was the guy before. But
Yeah.
Dave Smart really successful during his time in Canada, and then has the Texas Tech connection. Brought in Lamar Washington. I guess we'll get more to that later. But yeah, I'm in on what he can do. Probably not anything crazy year one. Um,
Yeah.
Hard to break that top seven
He'll
in
be
my
a
eyes,
lot
but
better than 358th in Ken Palm, though. I can confidently
yeah,
say that.
I that would be something I would bet on. Yeah.
Yes. Pretty safe bet there. But moving into our personal all conference awards, my player of the year, went with Graham Ike for Gonzaga. I mean, he was dominant last year. Best
Yeah,
team.
I've got EK as well. Marshallonis did win it last year. I think it also helped St. Mary's won the league. I don't think they do it again this year. And what EK provides Gonzaga in the paint, I think, will be really valuable. And Watson not there anymore. I think EK might even see a bit more of an increase.
Yes. My defensive player of the year, I am sticking with who won it last year for this. That's Mitchell Saxon for St. Mary's.
Yep, I'm sticking with Saxon as well. No reason to change really. Really good
Yes,
St. Mary's team. He
really
headlines the
solid
defense.
defensive big for sure. And yeah, St. Mary's built on defense. My freshman year, I went with Austin Rapp for Portland. Incoming coming Australian freshman and could be in line to start. Had some pretty was pretty good over there. I forgot exactly what league, maybe like the second division of like NBL or maybe I don't know. I remember looking it up though and I was impressed. So we're gonna go with him as a freshman of the year.
Yeah, I went with Mikey Lewis for St. Mary's. I think he should have a pretty big role in the backcourt, probably
I'm hesitant to
six,
trust
probably
freshmen
the sixth
under
man.
Randy Bennett.
I know a guy who's at UConn now that had a
Yeah, but
pretty
Jordan
strong
Ross was
fresh.
a top 100 guy, didn't play last year.
Yeah, because he was still behind Mahaney. I mean, I love
You
Jordan
think
Ross
he
too,
you
but
I like him too. Little preview
yeah,
for a breakout, but like Randy Bennett like I could see it. I do have Mikey Lewis on my freshman team, but he's gonna have to be really good to get minutes. Randy Bennett does not play someone until they're like ready.
yeah, yeah. I'll take my chance with him. I think the talent's definitely there. So
Yeah.
we'll see if the opportunity is.
Can't really knock that statement. Moving over to our all conference teams. So first team, I got Gonzaga point guard Ryan Nemhard. I got the previous winner of the Player of the Year and Augustus Marshallonis, St. Mary's point guard. I have Adama Alpha Ball, Santa Clara guard there. And then Graham Ike, my Player of the Year, and my Defensive Player of the Year, Mitchell Saxon from St. Mary's.
I went 4 for 5 in line with you, Nemhard, Marshallonis, Ike, Saxon, and then my fifth guy went with Cedric Coward. following Dave Riley from Eastern Washington to Wazoo. Should be the main guy there.
Yes. On my second team, I have Marcus Williams, San Francisco guard. I have Cleef Battle for Gonzaga, incoming transfer from Arkansas. I have another Gonzaga guy, Nolan Hickman. Um, be in the backcourt as well. Cedric Coward from Washington State, as you mentioned, and yet another Gonzaga player, Michael Jai from Pepperdine, all conference guy last year. As we mentioned earlier, he's really good.
I went with Adama Ball, Adama Alpha Ball, how he wants to be called now. Um, Marcus Williams for San Francisco, pair of Gonzaga guys, Nolan Hickman and Michael Ajayi, and then my fifth guy, Javon Porter for Loyola Marymount, transferred in from Pepperdine, I want to say.
Yes,
Hope that's right. Yeah.
in conference guy there. Yes, you are correct. Moving to my third team, I have Ryan Beasley for San Francisco, the freshman of the year in the conference last year. I have Carlos Stewart from Santa Clara, formerly an all-conference guy and the conference before he transferred to LSU prior to last season. I have Paulius Morauskas for St. Mary's, incoming transfer from Arizona. I have Michael Ratai, forward for Oregon State, and Javon Porter, you mentioned, closes out my all conference teams.
For my third team, I've got MJ Amy for Loyola Marymount coming over from San Jose State. Malik Thomas, another guard for San Francisco. Carlos Stewart for Santa Clara coming back after a year at LSU. Gleef Battle for Gonzaga. And then Johnny O'Neal, uh, stretch big for Santa Clara.
Yes, moving to all freshman team. I have your freshman year, Mikey Lewis from St. Mary's. I have Tyrone Riley from San Francisco. From Washington State, I have Tomas Thrasterson. I have Jaquavis Wilford from Oregon State. And closing out with my freshman year, Austin Rapp from Portland.
I've got my freshman of the year, Mikey Lewis, his teammate Liam Campbell, two St. Mary's guys. I don't know. You probably won't like that too much,
We'll
but
see.
we'll see if it pays
They're
off for
good.
me.
They're good, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
And then pair of Wazoo guys, Marcus Wilson and Case Why Not. And then Austin Rapp, your freshman of the year, closes out my list.
Yes. Moving to breakout players. Kind of alluded to this earlier. My first guy on the list is Jordan Ross. As I mentioned, Randy Benton doesn't really play guys until they're ready, but Jordan Ross should be ready now, ideally. Departure of Aiden Mahaney in the backcourt. He should be starting and he should be pretty good.
Yeah, Ross, my second guy mentioned, the only guy I had him behind was Isaiah Watts,
Yep.
sophomore for Washington State. Had a good finish to the year as a freshman, efficient in the minutes he was given, and the only returning guy back that played last year. So I think should have a big role this year, even with new coach, new system.
Yes, Watts was my second guy on the list. Third guy, I did go with the transfer. Sometimes I decide to sprinkle in transfers in the breakouts. I chose Jan Vide from Loyola Marymount, transferring over from UCLA. Didn't live up to the hype there, but we'll see. I definitely think he has some appeal for a breakout down. Kind of someone that people have forgotten about after everyone loved him last year. So I could see him being pretty good.
Yeah, my third guy after Watson Ross is Ryan Beasley for San Francisco. I had a solid freshman year there last year and should have a slight increase in minutes. Scoring may not totally be there with Marcus Williams and Malik Thomas next to him, but I still think it's a guy that has a really positive impact. Good defender as well.
Yes, I went with another San Francisco guy in Junji Wong, a guy that I was really high on last year. Didn't really pan out necessarily, but someone whose skill I'm definitely not overlooking after 1 year.
Going back to St. Mary's, I went with Harry Wessels, 7-1 big man. Saw limited minutes last year. I think that increases now. He's probably the third big behind Maraskis and Saxon, but I see a big year for him off the bench.
Yes. And then my last guy is Bull Danged It from Portland. Started most of conference play and was producing pretty consistent double-digit performances towards the end of the year. So can only anticipate that that will increase in his sophomore year. So you get
My
everyone? Or
I got one final guy, Brenton Napper for Santa Clara. Um, the probably the first guy off the bench, maybe the second, I guess. First guy off in the backcourt, behind Stewart and Ball, and yeah, had a promising redshirt sophomore campaign, efficient from the field. So I think the breakout could be there as long as he gets enough time on the ball.
yeah, for sure. So moving into our top 10 transfers, number one, I have Michael Ajayi moving within the conference.
Staying consistent with my all conference teams, I went with Cedric Howard at one, and then I've got Ajayi at two.
Yes, I have Cleef Battle at two, and then three is where I had Coward.
Gotcha. I've got Khalif Battle at four, and then
Then,
my I guess my third, if you've already listed there, I've got third Javon Porter at fourth
all
bat.
right, and I got Porter at five, and then four is where I had Carlos Stewart.
Okay, I had Carlos Stewart at six, just ahead of him. MGA Amy at five.
I had Amy at nine, and yeah, number six, I had Paulius Morauskas.
I didn't have Maraskis on my list. I had Carlos Stewart at six.
At number seven, I have Elijah Fisher coming into Pacific from DePaul.
Seventh, I've got Juan Watts, another guy following David Riley to Washington State, and Fisher is my eighth guy.
Yep, I have Watts at eight, and then Amy at nine.
And then ninth for me is DeMarco Minor, um, transferring in from SIUE to Oregon State.
Yes, number 10, rounding out transfers is Nate Calmes, transferring from Washington to Washington State. Really good at Lamar as a freshman. Think he's kind of a really under the radar guy. He's going to be good.
Yeah, I like Kelmies as well. I went with his teammate this year, Ethan Price, another one of those guys following Riley, but Kelmies was definitely under consideration for me.
Yes. So now, yeah, moving to our individual conference team reviews, previews, predictions for this upcoming season. We're going to start with the new teams in the conference, starting out with Oregon State. I have the Beavers and Wayne Tinkle at seventh in their first year out of only 2 years that they're going to be in the conference. But yeah, seventh in the conference.
Yeah, I've got Oregon State finishing seventh as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is their level.
Yeah, and I think it'd be a good level for the teams they've had in the past, and I think talent wise, this is probably even a slight step down. That's why I have them only seventh, which I mean makes
Yes.
sense. Going down a level, you're going to lose a lot of your guys, but
Yeah, I guess, well, I mean, is this really like different than what we've seen in previous years? Like,
I mean, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. There's intrigue, but there's nothing I'm like, wow, this is like a power conference guy. But I mean, last year you had Tyler Bilodeau, Jordan Pope. Those are two guys who stayed at the power conference level that
Casey Ibekwe is a high major guy too.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's not like,
yeah,
yeah.
yes, by
That's
definition, yeah.
I just felt like saying that. But yeah, um, this team is yeah definitely Nate Kings. I think is someone to monitor. Formerly went by Nate Mitoff. I think must have changed his name to Nate Kings. Name has a little bit more aura, so I'm kind of rocking
Yeah,
with it. It's a guy like
Yeah.
last year coming out of JUCO, tore his ACL. Someone to monitor for sure.
I mean the all name teams have been going around.
He might have
So
changed his name
the
just to get on the all name team.
yeah, I'll add him as a late submission, I guess. But yeah, Kings, another guy, DeMarco Minor. I mentioned him in my top 10
Yes,
transfers coming
elite
up.
rebounding guard.
And he's 6 feet tall and he averaged 8.5 boards a game last year. So I don't know if that's the OVC that is what it is, but yeah, I still think he'll be a threat. I mean, yeah,
Yes, and then yeah, Michael or Ty had him in my all conference team. Pretty solid returner, and then got the big man duo Parsafala coming in from Southern Utah, Matthew Marsh coming in from Wake. Both players that fit this level, I think.
yeah. I feel like I kind of like Marsh stepping down a level. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
He was
good
like good
size,
the
good
year before
rebounder,
last.
lob threat. Like,
Yes. He shot like 90% or the 2 years ago because he just like dunked the ball.
yeah, yeah,
Like
like
let me pull up what he shot. It was something like insanely crazy from the field because he didn't do anything besides dunk, but um Matthew Marsh average or
I mean, while you're going through it, I'll highlight another name. I like Josiah Lake the second, um, walk on last year. I think it was a big game he had against UCLA, UCLA at Oregon State, like early conference play. I'm like, wow, this guy's good. And then like the whole game, they're calling him a walk on, and that was kind of like my first recognition of him. Depending on how Nate Kings is, I I assume Lake should have a sizable role. I thought about him on my breakout guys, but
yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
just good story.
yes. Matthew Marsh shot 88.3% from the field 2 years ago at Wake. So that's it's not
What
missing
was
very
the
many
shot
shots
attempts
here.
on that?
Um, Let me
If
go
you've got
back to
it,
that
otherwise it's
page.
fine.
Like 3.1 attempts per game.
Okay, so
He was, yeah, overall,
probably 80 for 90 ish.
yeah, 83 for 94. He wasn't doing much mission, but yeah, on to the next team, Washington State. I have the Cougars at fifth in the conference.
I've got Washington State fifth as well.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, this is basically like Eastern Washington, but like a little bit better.
Yeah, you're taking four of your top guys from the Eastern Washington team, and then you add Isaiah Watts, solid freshman year at the Power Six level. Nate
Yes,
Calmes, a guy who, like you said, didn't have the year he wanted at Washington, but at Lamar his freshman year, um, had a promising year. So I think the bounce back capabilities are definitely there. I think Calmes and Watts that's an exciting backcourt.
for sure. And yeah, Coward's a guy that can play anywhere in the country. Decided to follow Riley to Wazoo. You got the forward duo transferring over, Ethan Price and Dane Erikstrup. Richard Rivers, pretty solid freshman at Quinnipiac. I really liked this freshman class. And Okafor, coming over from Cal, is another big man that could make a solid impact. Like I like this team.
Yeah, and then Luwan Watts, I believe he was freshman of the year in the Big Sky last
I
year.
believe so, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this team is deep for West Coast conference standards. Like I think Wilson and Wynot are ready to make an impact right away. I think Thrasherson, you had him on your all freshman team, I
He's
believe.
gonna be good, I think. So yeah, like this has some a pretty young a bright future depending on if these guys stay around. Obviously, nothing's really guaranteed there with the portal, but both Watts are sophomores. You got like five freshmen who are all like somewhat decent. Bavers is a sophomore. Calmes still has another year after this year, so a good future. And yeah, lot to be excited about. I think you're gonna have Casey Jones in like 3 years too.
Yeah, like 27, 28, I think. is when he
It's
comes
something
back, or
like
that
that.
2 years on a mission,
And
and then a
he's
redshirt year, and
yes.
then yeah.
It'll be a while. But next team up, going back to WCC for the standings from last year. Pacific, they did not win a game last year. They were horrible last year, to be quite frank. They were bad. I let's see where do I have them. I have them in eighth this year out of 11.
Okay, we're on the same page still. I've got Pacific eighth as well. I'm buying into Dave Smart year one. Like out of the bottom four, yeah, that's the guy I trust the most, or like believe in the most to like have an upside finish. So
Yeah, I mean like, a lot of like solid high major guys. Lamar Washington, Elijah Fisher. Smart has connections with both of those from Texas Tech. Jazz Gardner is probably a guy who could really break out in a sense in his second year coming in from Nevada. Um, few JUCO guys, Danye May and Seth Jones. Um, is they also got your Minnesota guy Chris Canis. Is there anything to
yeah, I
be
think
excited about at all?
Chris Keen's. I guess I never really saw him play
Yeah,
last year, so it's
he
like,
because he didn't.
yeah, I don't know. It could be a guy like high major pedigree, one of what three guys on this roster with it. So I
Yeah,
don't know about.
Koulibaly has high major pedigree too. He spent some time at
Yeah.
Wazoo.
Okay. Yeah. So then I don't. Yeah, I don't know about Keen's this season, but um, a guy to watch out for in the future. Get a year under his belt, actually seeing the floor, getting used to it. But Danye May, that's a JUCO guy I kind of like. Just go to floor general point guard. Was part of a very good winning team at Connor State,
Yes.
and then Lamar Washington, Elijah Fisher. I'm high on what those two can bring. Fisher
Mm-hmm.
actually had some really good games at DePaul last year, even for an awful team. So
Yes. Petar Kravakovic, FIU transfer. I also got Elias Ralph, Canadian transfer. Obviously smart, very familiar with that league. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be so much better than they were last year. Still not like in the top tier of teams, but they're a lot better. I think. I mean, they're in the bottom tier, but they're the top of the bottom.
yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 through 7, and then 8 through 11 is all alone in my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yes. So moving on to the next team, which is going to be Portland. Finished 5-11 in conference play last year. We'll see if we can still match up. I have Portland at ninth.
I've got Portland ninth as well. So 4 for 4 now.
All right. So yeah, I mean, again, I like Portland more than the two teams at the bottom, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing I'm like raving over this
It's
team
not it's
about.
not
Like
bad. Max McKinnon's pretty solid. I like Shante Legans.
three
But
three
like
solid returners. Um, Message, Austin, and Dengit.
yes. They got a lot of freshmen. I guess we'll just see what happens. Someone's probably gonna break out of those guys. Jermaine Bellinger Webb, big guy coming in from American, but somehow like not really a shot blocker at all. So we'll see. We'll see there. Um, yeah, a lot of freshman based. We'll see though. I like Leggins. Anything else in this team really?
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of got it all covered. It's gonna depend a lot on what the freshmen can bring. Um, Only five non-freshmen that should really be in the rotation. I think so. Whatever they can bring, Austin Rapp, your freshman of the year, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So. we'll see what happens though.
Yeah, I like Leggins too. Former Eastern Washington guy, few former EWU coaches in the league. Next team, Pepperdine, also another 5-11 team in conference play last year. I have them 10th. Are we still going to be on board here?
11th. I was gonna go first just to prove to you I wasn't copying, but
Oh,
we're
now
off
now
anyways.
we proved it anyway. Um,
Dang, that on Steve Lavin.
yeah, I am, but we can talk about that in a minute. But I mean, hmm. They have some pieces I like sneakily like. Like I kind of like Javon Cooley and Mo Odom, but like I like them for what they are. And like maybe I guess you have to like buy Aaron Clark. I don't know.
Yeah, there was just nothing to me really that stood out in this transfer class that I
I like Mo Odom. Like he was at Pacific. I know Pacific was terrible, but he's a really good passer.
yeah, I mean, I, that Pacific team just
He's good
it's
though.
hard
He
it's hard
he's
it's hard for me to buy into a guy,
he had
but
4.6 assists a game with no one to pass it to.
he, how many assists did he have when they lost by 60 in the conference tournament?
I'll look it up. Probably how many points did they have that game?
I think they got up to like 40. 102 to 43. I've got it here.
That was a tough one.
Oh wait, did he even play? Oh yeah, he did. 17 minutes, 2 points, 2 assists.
He didn't start that game for some reason.
That's probably why they got off to a 2 to 32 start, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll give him more props now that I see he maybe wasn't entirely the problem. But
But yeah, I
uh,
mean,
yeah, Boubacar Koulibaly, lone guy coming back
we'll
that
see if he's
played
healthy. I
real
know he's had
minutes last
some
year.
injury issues over the years, but big physical guy. Another
Solid
big
rim
man
protector.
from Loyola, Maryland, Alonzo Fowler. Zion Bethy coming over from Delaware. He's all right. We'll see if any of these freshmen can do much. Um, yeah, probably not gonna be very good this year though. We'll see. We'll see what Schilling can do.
Yeah, I mean 10th, 11th in this conference, you're still probably looking 300th-ish.
Yep. Next up, though, Loyola Marymount, another 5-11 team in conference last year. I have them at six this year.
Yeah, I've got them sixth as well. I think it's a pretty clear cut 5, 6, 7. Washington State, Loyola
Yes.
Marymount, Oregon State. I do like the duo coming in, MJ Amy, Javon Porter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
really raises the offensive ceiling of this team. Um,
Yes, and you have some intriguing sophomores as well. Jan Vade and Matar Jope, both high major guys, and Aaron McBride, a guy that was hyped up last year as well. So three a little bit breakout candidates there. Will Johnson's a good shooter. Alex Merkvidalidze is a solid piece. Caleb Stone Carroll's solid. We'll see. Stan Johnson's kind of disappointed though. Last year was disappointing for me. I thought they'd be good and they just like weren't.
yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest like thing stopping me. I'd rather trust in David Riley
Yeah,
than
absolutely.
Stan Johnson. So I don't know. We'll see. I like the talent that's there,
Yeah,
especially the
Javon
top
Porter's
four,
really
especially
good.
the top four guys. Yeah,
He's
Amy Porter and
very talented for sure. No doubt about that. So I guess we'll see. But I'm kind of rubbed the wrong way about this team after last year, but I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the intrigue with it, but another one of those cases if you go too far again and get bit once more buying into the hype, I don't know, turns you sour. So I think sixth is a very safe spot.
Yep. Next up, San Diego went 7-9 in conference play last year, and I have them last this year.
Yeah, I've got San Diego 10th.
They might be better than Pepperdine, but I you might be right. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I
I
don't,
mean,
I think they're
they
better.
lost a ton of talented
Yeah,
guys. Deuce Turner, Santa Barbara. That's probably a borderline top 100 team. Wayne McKinney to San Diego State. Kevin Patton, USC. PJ Hayes to
Rutgers.
Rutgers. And then Ola Oladokun
Yes, to Rice, I
to
believe.
yeah, I remember talking about him like 2 days ago on a podcast.
Yes, we'll see. A lot of it will depend on KJ Bradley coming in from JUCO and Cody Clowett coming over from D2. Now that I'm looking at it, I might be a little bit more in the team from Pepperdine, but I'm still gonna keep my prediction. Not gonna switch up now. I think they definitely have some intriguing sophomores too. Dragos Lungu, Keon Kenji. Steven Jamerson's not a sophomore, but he was pretty solid as a big man last year. Um, maybe this team isn't that good though. They did
No,
they could have
it's
added
bas
more and they didn't add anything hardly.
it's basically Jamerson plus last year's bench, plus Bradley and Cloette, who both are stepping up a level. So yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm buying in this team by any means, but yeah, I do think they're better than Pepperdine.
I also want to point out that they had two guys last year that played over 11 minutes a game and both scored under a point per game.
Yeah, and Munchie started 14 games last year and
I don't know what to
averaged
make of that.
point
I don't
nine
know what
points
to
a
make
game.
of that statistic. I don't think that's a good thing.
No, yeah, is their role just to like feed Deuce and McKinney the
But they
ball, I
weren't really
guess.
they weren't really averaging like that many assists either. What were they doing?
I mean, getting the cardio in, diving
Sounds
for
like
loose
it.
balls, stuff that doesn't show up in the
Yeah,
stat sheet, I guess.
they were bringing some grit. Next up though, Santa Clara, 10-6. I mean, there was a huge gap last year in conference between the bad teams and the good teams. This is kind of where that gap was. Santa Clara was pretty solid last year, and I have them at third this year.
Yeah, I thought this was our last chance to split a pair of rankings. I've got Santa Clara third as well, though.
Yes. They return. I mean, they don't lose anyone to the portal. They did lose a few guys. Carlos Marshall, the main notable one to eligibility, but bringing Carlos Stewart back is huge. Elijah Mahi, top 10 JUCO guy, should be pretty good. I like this team. I think they can take a big jump like because of continuity and like
Yeah,
the guys they brought in.
I mean, this is like one of those teams where you want to try to like stretch the WCC to a three-bid league. I feel like almost with especially the guard talent they have. Carlos Stewart coming back, Adam Alpha Ball returning 14 points a game. Talked about Brenton Napper, another solid guard. Tyree Bryan probably will be the third starter next to Ball and Stewart.
I think
And
Mahi's gonna start.
oh yeah, I've heard, yeah, Mahi too. Um,
I think
yeah,
he's gonna be pretty good.
you're settled there, and then the bigs I think are also solid with Tilly, O'Neal, Ensminger.
Yeah, Ensminger was pretty impactful as a sophomore last year. Kind of made a lot of winning plays. And then you got some other bench guys like Christian Hammond, Cameron Tongue, maybe like Luke McElden does something. Alan Graves, incoming freshman. I really like this team.
Yeah, it's got a like solid top eight. I think like the rest of the bench can still contribute to if called upon. And yeah, you've got two elite guards that have proven themselves in the WCC already. So the capability is there for another big
Yeah, and I
upset or
mean,
two. And
I like O'Neal and Tilly, and then Mahi if he's really good. Like I'm not gonna say they're gonna be an at-large team, but like the potential, I think is probably there.
if things work out, I think it's definitely a team that'd be like a fun at large team. Probably a few steps away, but if everything works out, you have the talent in place.
Yes. Next up, San Francisco, 11-5 in conference play last year. I have the Dons at fourth in the conference this year.
I've got San Francisco fourth as well.
Yes. Yeah, another pretty solid team. Should be a top 100 team nationally. Um, yeah, pretty good returning guards with Malik Williams, um,
Malik Thomas,
Malik Thomas, Marcus
Marcus
Williams,
Williams, yeah,
and Ryan Beasley. Yes, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those are three really solid returners. Williams and Thomas both double-digit scores last year. Beasley, best freshman in the conference. Um, Added a few transfers. Carlton Lingard from UTSA, someone who could be solid. Jason Rivera Torres, definitely someone I'm buying stock in long term from Vanderbilt. I also got Issa Silva, who is, eh, I
Yeah,
don't
like
think he's good, but
fills the roster.
I guess so. Former like top 50 guy. But think we know what he is at this point.
Yeah,
And then yeah, I think they have some intriguing young talent on the bench, honestly. Vinayaman Ipsoi, a Greek guy who should be a good prospect over time. Wong is a guy that I think is going to break out at some point. Robbie Beasley, not young, but has proven to be a solid player. Will have the full year this year after being one of those midseason transfer guys last year. Saba Gigi Bria's back. Big guy down low should play. Tyrone Riley and James O'Donnell, more freshmen. And yeah, Dueto Newberry should probably start as well. At the four, pretty solid player there.
yeah. I think a very small step behind Santa Clara overall, but again, another team with talented guards that um, could end up giving Gonzaga or St. Mary's problems on a given night,
Yes,
as long as they don't play in the Chase Center again.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I I like Santa Clara or San Francisco's like home gym too. It's like
It's pretty
smaller
fun.
gym, like good environment feel. Like
Yeah.
just watching a game, I feel like you feel into it. Like you can hear the crowd a lot.
Absolutely. Next up though, Gonzaga finished second last year. I had them first this year, so
Yeah, I've got Gonzaga first as well.
they are very good. I had five of their players in my all conference first or second team. Nemhard and Hickman, the returning backcourt. Greg and Ike, the returning front court, adding a first team all conference guy and Ajayi, adding a guy who really scored the ball at the SEC level. In Cleve Battle, got Dusty Stromer and Braden Huff. Rising sophomores, Emmanuel Innocenti. Rising sophomore transfer from Tarleton, elite defensive piece. Um, Even like Ismaili Diagne could definitely be someone who does something. Maybe not played too many minutes, but definitely someone I'm buying long term at least.
Yeah, Steel Venter's out with another season-ending
Yes.
injury.
He's
Uh,
That's tough.
yeah, I think last year like there was more of a glaring absence. He went down. I think this year they're more well suited to cover depth wise. Like last year, they really only played seven guys, whereas this year, Ajayi coming in, Battle coming in, and then just a year older on the sophomores with Stromer and Huff. I think this is going to be my preseason national champion. Um, I,
Yes.
it's time for Mark Few to win it all. You've got Nemhard, Hickman, Ek. They've been here. Nemhard and Hickman especially. Ajayi, athleticism, scoring, shot creation on the wing. Ben Gregg and just another solid guy. And then Khalif Battle can score the ball. And
Hmm.
yeah, just a total another element in the backcourt that they didn't have last year. Nemhard was playing like every minute of the game. Hickman was playing all but
Hmm.
one basically. So
Yes, and if there's one thing this team doesn't have, it's probably rim protection.
yeah, yeah, that's probably your one like fault to them, but I don't know. I'm still I like them just as much as any team in the country, I would say.
Yes. And yeah, I also got Braden Smith, Patriot League Player of the Year from Colgate, who is redshirting this year. And I will have 2 years of eligibility when he returns after Nemhard and Hickman and pretty much all these other guys are all gone. But yeah, going to be very good. And then wrapping up with St. Mary's #1 team last year. Believe we both have them second this year.
Yep.
Yes, not really yeah, Randy Ben's a very good coach. He's so underappreciated.
Yeah, I can't even remember where I put St. Mary's in my top 100. It was give or take number 40, but it's like I still feel like that's almost disrespectful for like the roster maybe doesn't show it, but it's like this is Randy Bennett. He's
I'm
always
not
gonna
really
have a
concerned
very
about
solid
guys that
team.
like don't like play a lot. Like he makes them like he'll yeah, he just they'll be like
Yeah,
good.
I mean, yeah, just another very good guy to run a program. I mean, West Coast Conference has done well holding on to him and few. And it
Yes.
seems like they're both career-long guys by the
Hmm.
time now Bennett stuck around. So
I will say, I keep forgetting to add Ashton Hardaway. That's just like
I every time I look at the roster, I like see his name and I'm like, okay, like I don't know, like
I know, like I just like it's
it's like
such like a weird,
yeah, cool, but it's
but he's
yeah,
probably gonna be good.
that's the other.
He made
He
a good
definitely could
business
be.
decision.
I mean, you upgrade from or yeah, you go from Penny Penny Hardaway as your coach,
He was
even though he's
not
your own
having his
father,
dad's
even though
coaching
he's your own
anymore. He
father.
wa he was not
Yeah,
having it, and I respect it. Randy been such a better coach. And yeah, Hardaway was a top 100 guy. I think like he could sneakily be kind of good, and people aren't really realizing it, but we'll see. I also love Paulius Morauskas coming in from Arizona. Um, let's see, and then yeah, Luke Barrett didn't
Barcelona's.
play a ton last year, but is gonna fit in seamlessly. And yeah, Marcel and Saxon got 2 stars. Got some good freshmen, Mikey Lewis, Liam Campbell. Got some other intriguing Joshua Dent. We'll see if how good he is. Wessel's back up big. Yeah, I mean I'm not
I,
really worried too much about this team at all.
yeah, I think it's just like a matter of who steps up. Lewis Campbell, Jordan Ross, just like a breakout for another scorer, really. Because I
Yeah,
mean, they're gonna stay in the game defensively, but it's just like getting another consistent offensive output. Um, that you're losing with Mahaney being gone, and Jefferson was a good enough scorer too.
yes. Alex Dukas, another guy they lost. So, but yeah, gonna be good defensively. Randy Bennett's a very good coach, as I've said a lot of times in the last few minutes. But yeah, any other notes on the conference, St. Mary's, anything as a whole? It's a fun conference to watch,
I'm Yeah,
I
and
think.
you add Washington State and Oregon State. I, any match between those top seven teams, I feel like is very good basketball. Like especially if it's
Hmm.
Gonzaga or St. Mary's visiting one of those other schools. So yeah, I don't. This probably isn't the year just with how strong Gonzaga is for like one of those teams to make a run in the conference tournament through that big gauntlet. But I don't know. It'd be cool if it did happen.
Yeah,
Trying to
probably a
see
two
three
bid league,
bids.
but I hope it's a
Yeah,
three bid league.
I don't think Santa Clara and San Francisco are quite there, so that's why I kind of want
But they could get there though.
the conference tournament to get thrown out the window, see one of those 3 through 7 teams win it, but in the end, I mean, you have Gonzaga, top 5 team, St. Mary's, always good. So yeah,
Yes.
my money would be on those two. But
Yeah, absolutely. But appreciate everyone that watched, tuned in. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so you stay updated for all of our conference previews. Make sure to turn on post notifications. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter/X at Hoopscoop Media. Make sure to follow Luke at College Hoops Outlet on Instagram and CHO Talk Sports on Twitter. And we will see you next time.